Alright, this is what this trailer looks like when we brought it home. It's going to be the beginning of a wee bit of a project. It is beat up and full of junk. Alright, now it's behind the truck. So, let's see what we can do for it. Okay, well, got her in the garage here, and actually it's in the shop. I'm going to look at it. It's a shop now, it's a garage when the car's in there, right? Anyway, we got about half the wood off of it. One of the interesting things I noticed is while they did use dimensional 2x, which is cool, 2x8s by the looks of them, they use these self-tapping. Let me see if it's going to show up or not. If I can find it. Here's a better one. Hopefully you didn't get ill there. Big old self-tapping screws. And as you can see, there's the slot where they go in. Kind of neat. You can see a slot up in there. And quite often on these trailers there's another piece of steel across the front that you literally have to grind the welds off and then put the boards down and then tack weld it back on. This one here, they just used the screws, and it cheaped out on the people who ever bought this thing new, because slot there, no screws, no screws, and then screw in the front. And in a 2x8, they only used one screw right in the middle. That's kind of cheesy in my book. We won't be doing that later. But I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this. If you're watching this video, you might see something that's shot over the course of several days. But for right now, we're just going to get the rest of this nasty wood off, clean up the screws, the ones that are kind of fused into the steel, and clean up around it. And let's see what we actually have hiding under here. Okay, well, what we got going on here is this was a landscaping trailer at one time, and it had these towers coming up, probably to put weed eaters on and things like that. And well, whoever had this trailer after that just sort of hacked them off. So we're doing a little grinding. I'll give you a look at. That's the last one we got to do. And just general cleanup. This trailer is going to be used to carry just camping gear. So the lady who's going to end up with it wants to be able to load it inside of her garage. And that was the reason for taking the big ramp off, because she certainly couldn't put that down in a closed garage. And we'll get that all cleaned up. And then this jack here, it was kind of faulty, and when we took it off the trailer, well, bent it. So it was welded on. I don't know if that was from the factory. They're pretty nice welds. So either somebody was a good welder or that was put on at the factory like that. But either way, the vehicle that it's going to be towed with is a hatchback. And, well, we're going to have to find out where along here we can put it. I may not even put one on just now. We'll have to wait and see. But that one has to come off. And various other grinding jobs. So this is kind of the grinding stage right now. And we'll be back when we get to another stage. Okay, we're back to the trailer, and just want to show you a couple things, little maybe innovations, maybe some ideas. I don't know, we're just going to share and see what happens. As you can see, the pretty much body of it is all done. We've got most of the 2x6s in there, but let me start at the beginning. The tailgate. You know, if you watch the channel, you'll know that we borrowed a tractor and implements, and in that learning experience, we kind of discovered an idea that's probably not unique because there aren't that many unique ideas left in the world. But we needed a way to close this tailgate. A moment on the tailgate. When we got the trailer, originally it had that big landscaping style tailgate on, you see right there. And the client didn't want that. The client wants to be able to load this in one half of a 2-car garage as painlessly as possible. And she's going to be carrying mostly camping gear, not very heavy stuff, but she likes to put things into the trailer with a tarp, diaper it all up, and then tie it down. So that's kind of the idea. So I went ahead and fabricated this tailgate. Just bought the steel and kind of knocked it together. Yeah, right. Now, it's all welded up. And we needed a way to close it and to latch it. And one of the things that the trailer needed to be able to do was obviously close flush, but so it could be moved around in that and keep the tailgate out of the way when it's down, we wanted to fold it, as you see. And the way we came up with to do that was to use these stainless steel hinges. Now, I salvaged these off of boats over a decade ago. These are 1.25 inch stainless steel, and they're actually put on with rivets. And we like it. It gives it a nice flush look when it's closed, and it does allow the tailgate to come all the way around and not get in the way. In an area, this trailer is about 13.5, 14 feet long. So you put it in a 20-foot garage. Every foot behind it counts for walking and loading. So we hope she likes this. But on to the closure. These pins. We actually got these at Tractor Supply. And they're supposed to be used, they're designed for putting on implements. You put these pins on implements, and then the bottom 2 points of a 3-point hitch can attach to them. And we thought, wow, that would actually make kind of a cool way to close this thing. So we fabricated some ears. A little tight yet, but you can see we put little holes. Well, they weren't little. They were actually kind of a bear to drill. And then Tractor Supply also had these pins that go down in, and then they're spring loaded, so they lock on. And then we have these cotter pins. These aren't the holes they're going to go in because it's part of the tail light. The hole eventually will be drilled. Hey, how do you like all them fingers? The hole will definitely be drilled up here somewheres. But you can see that it just turned out to be a real elegant way to close up the trailer. It's definitely a positive closure. That's a 3/4 inch thick pin. Way overkill. But it's certainly not going to open unless you figure out a way to break these 3/16 pieces of steel. And quite frankly, we think it looks rather elegant. So we're really happy with that. Now, something else we're right in the process of adding is this expanded metal. Now, the wood's in there, just kind of, anybody who's ever fabricated knows something, you build it, knows that when you build something and you design something, you kind of build it 2 or 3 times. Build it, take it apart, build it, take it apart. Sometimes just for fixing, sometimes for, in this case, going to be measuring and welding. So, this trailer's already been taken apart a couple of times, and the wood is just laying in there. You can tell there's no fasteners holding that wood down yet. We did go back and forth with the lumber to use here. I really, really wanted to use the 5/4 deck boards. I thought it would be plenty strong enough to do that. But the bottom line was, the way this trailer's set up, let's see if we can get this. This lip right here is built for the 2x4s to go in, and they slide into and under that lip. And then, unlike some of the trailers we've done in the past that had a removable piece of metal up here to hold it. This one doesn't have it. Don't know why, but I don't think we'll really need it. We're just going to go ahead and put fasteners here. So the bottom line was, the trailer's pretty light to start with. So we just decided to go ahead and go with the 2x6s instead of with the 1.5 thick stuff instead of the inch thick stuff. Maybe a little thick, but hey, it'll last longer. This trailer's going to live most of its life indoors in the garage, so we think this will do. Now the expanded metal, probably the biggest upgrade. I went ahead and bought a 10x5 piece of expanded metal, and we are going to ring the entire trailer, including a tailgate, in this expanded metal. That way any smaller items that sneak out of the tarp, or just if she wants to use it to carry other kinds of things, you don't have these large gaps where things can fall through, where you don't have to use a tarp if you don't want to. It'll give it, I think it'll also look a little bit better. And what we'd use to cut this with is, I have a circular saw here, and we just put steel cutting blades in the circular saw. In fact, I don't know, there's probably a couple more of them laying around here. Yeah, they're hiding. There's another one right there. And we just measure it. In this case, it's a foot. You can see we've used a chalk line. And just carefully go ahead and go through. And then for the smaller nibs, we've got the Sawzall out with some metal blades on it. It's kind of a pain in the butt to cut, but I think once it's cut and tack welded in, this will look really good. And we'll either continue this video or make another video as we move along and get it done and get it ready for delivery. But these are just some of the little side jobs we do here on the Toadstead.